Hi, I'm Marie Weichman, art professor at Olympic College. In July of 2012, Olympic College students and faculty from the art, science, and welding departments worked together to build a life-sized baby gray whale with recycled materials and found objects. The idea for this evolved from a personal art project to a collaborative learning experience for students, with the learning outcomes to build awareness for public art, educate the public on the dangers that plastics have on our marine environments, and provide students with a real-world experience in producing a creative product.
In April 2010, a 37-foot gray whale was discovered stranded and deceased on the shores of West Seattle. This wasn't an unusual event, as malnourished gray whales strand and die in Puget Sound annually. But this whale did reveal something startling. As the scientists investigated the contents of the whale's stomach, a shocking amount of trash was discovered. This male gray whale contained small towels, sweatpants, a golf ball, numerous other human discarded debris, as well as over 20 plastic bags. This whale probably accumulated a lot of this garbage while feeding at the bottom of the Puget Sound. Gray whales have been found with human discarded debris in the past, but this was a larger amount than previously discovered. Scientists have continued to find many gray whales and other marine animals with plastic in their stomachs.
The interdisciplinary team was comprised of myself as project art director, guiding students and faculty in the overall direction of the project, the artists who helped design and construct the baby whale and the space it resides in for viewing, welders and manufacturers who constructed the CAD drawings and welded the skeleton of the baby whale together, marine science students who provided the academic content and information about the life cycle of a baby gray whale and the dangers of plastics on our marine environment through a looped audio recording, the media relations director, Joni Reynolds, who shared and promoted the educational experiences and processes of this project to the public, and the OC Audio Visuals Recording Studio, where the looped narrative for the installation was recorded by Roger Nick.
Hi, I'm Susan Digby. I'm an instructor here in geography at Olympic College, and I got involved in the Marine Debris Project through my geography class. I was looking for a site where I could have students look at gravel sizes as you go from the head of the beach down to the water. But when I went to the park to actually have a look to see if this was possible, instead, what really caught my eye was the amount of trash on the beach. And in scientific terms, you call it marine debris or anthropogenic marine debris. This is material that's got washed up on the beach, and it's essentially our creation rather than algae and spawned salmon. So what exactly is all this trash? What exactly are we producing? It turns out to be an amazing cross-section of our lives. So let's just look here. We have food wrappers. We have cigarette butts. We have messages in bottles. We have cans, we have toys, we have baby teeth in tiny decorative containers. We have birdhouses, we have flower pots. It's truly a cross-section of our lives. So how do we go about reducing this? How do we go about taking marine debris out of our environment? And I think there are really two basic things. We have to collect the stuff before it reaches the sound. So that means putting trash where it belongs, and it means programs like we have already, street sweeping, that those are maintained and expand if possible. And then also I think it's inevitable that some trash escapes, and so we need to just face up to the fact that once a month we need to go out and clean it up. So you might ask, how does all this relate to the whale? Because the whales feed by scooping large volumes of water and then expelling it through their baleen, what happens is our marine debris is getting trapped inside them. So every bit of material we can get out of Puget Sound is one less hazard for our buddy behind us.
Gray whales have the longest known migration of any mammal, averaging 10 to 14,000 miles round trip. They spend the summer months in the cold waters of the Bering and Chukchi Seas. These feeding grounds provide plentiful food items for fattening up in preparation for their migration. In October, they begin to head south, traveling along the west coast of North America to their mating and calving lagoons around Baja California, Mexico.
Materials used to fabricate the life-size baby gray whale include a welded steel skeleton, fencing material, recycled plastic bags, and found objects. Welding professor Al Kitchens oversaw welding student Sean Beckstead through the welding process after receiving CAD designs from Ron Rady of the manufacturing department. Art students Teresa Helton, Jennifer Lynch, Max Green, and Justine McNeil transported the sections of the whale skeleton to the art gallery where the rest of the construction took place. Together with volunteer gallery assistant Charlie Gore, they wove plastic bags through fencing material and attached it to the welded steel skeleton to create the skin of the whale. OC Geography professor Susan Digby took the lead with collecting and displaying marine debris from Dyes Inlet and creating a statistical look of the quantities of such common items as styrofoam or plastic bottles.
Hello, my name is Al Kitchens, and I'm one of the weld faculty here at Olympic College, and I had the pleasure of working with one of my senior welding students here at the welding program and actually putting the framework together in conjunction with the design that was implemented by Ron Rady and the technical design program. From my perspective, working with a project like this has been a learning experience for me. Coming from an industry professional aspect, coming from working in the shipyard, also working with a Boeing company, never having done anything from an artistic standpoint, and working with a project like this and the scope of it, it's been very educational from my standpoint. I've learned a lot. This project really is one of a kind, I think, in the history of my tenure here at Olympic College. I think Marie Weichman has done an outstanding job here in developing such a program that raises the awareness of working collaboratively with the different disciplines and programs here at Olympic College, and to work toward a common goal and a project such that it actually can benefit marine life and also raise awareness of our students' growth in the process of being involved with a project like this.
You are currently viewing a representation of a gray whale. Gray whales feed using baleen instead of teeth. The baleen found in the mouth of a gray whale is composed of 130 to 180 white fringed strips that overlap and create a comb-like plate. When they feed, they use this baleen to filter tiny organisms from the bottom sediment found in shallow waters. This makes them more likely than other whales to be seen from the shore, as they commonly feed in coastal waters. If you're looking to spot a gray whale, they are about 45 feet long, weigh 40 tons, and have dark gray skin with light gray patches and white mottling. A gray whale has a hump on its back, followed by several smaller bumps leading towards their fluke, or tail fin. Their fluke is 10 to 12 feet across, pointed at the tips, and deeply notched in the center.
My name's Sean Beckstead, and I was involved with this snappy whale project in the sense that I've welded the subframe for it so that all the bags and mesh and what have you could be attached afterwards. I was a student at Olympic College at the time, and I was at the tail end of my degree and there wasn't anything to do, and here was a whale. So that was that, you know. A lot of bending metal into shapes and ribs and putting stanchions in so that they would have a way to attach their mesh and bags to finish the project. And yeah, I was grateful for it. It was a good time. I have no idea what motivated the artist to build such a fantastically socially controversial project, but I was grateful for it because it gave me something to do in my final quarter. And again, I'm a welder, you know, and I like art, I dig art, and I think that it's fantastic that it's creating such a well, I guess not such interest in the marine life and how the trash is affecting it. Other than that, I'm just grateful that I got to build something in my final quarter at the Olympic College there, and something so interesting, fantastic. So that's about it, as far as I'm surprised at how much stir that it's created, both socially and in the media.
Plastic in our marine environment poses a major risk to many animals. Seabirds mistake small plastic pieces for fish eggs, while sea turtles mistake plastic bags and balloons for jellyfish. Ingestion of debris may result in nutritional loss, digestive blockage, starvation, and even death. Additionally, marine animals can become entangled in discarded materials such as plastic bags, fishing lines, and nets. This may cause suffocation, strangulation, and drowning.
I'm Ron Rady. I teach technical design here at Olympic College. And technical design is essentially the graphic communications that occurs between a concept of an idea that a person may have and the actual manufacturing of that idea. In the meantime, to connect the two, there's a need for some drawings and some design work to happen. And that's what technical design is all about, is to generate those design drawings to give the manufacturer something to work from, so they're not just working from a vague idea. So I got involved in the project. I was approached by Marie and Al in that they needed some design work for the welders, so that the welders would know what size frames to build, how to position them, how to organize them. And so it was my job. I went ahead and created the drawings and the full-size patterns that the welders could use to generate the frame for the whale. So I'm really excited about the attention that we're generating by this project. I was very happy to be involved in it, and people don't realize all the plastic bags, the damage they can do to the environment, and how they just hang around forever. So hopefully this will raise some awareness on that, on its impact on the ocean wildlife, and I hope it generate some public response, and maybe we can do something about it.
Gray whales begin arriving to their breeding grounds in early winter and spend about 3 months there. Born in these warm, protected waters, the calves nurse and build up their blubber layers. This time is crucial to their survival. However, adult gray whales generally do not feed until they return to northern waters where food is plentiful. They arrive along the Washington coast in the spring, and some hungry grays enter the Puget Sound to feed.
Well, the tedious and, yes, daunting task of weaving is at hand. First, it was necessary to experiment with various techniques before we could identify the best option. It had to be efficient. It had to be reasonably simple. It had to produce an appearance that would not disguise the material, plastic bags, but would create an overall skin-like surface. After the group came to a decision, we had to put it to practice. As usual, time was suddenly magnified. Can we get this done by the deadline? How many of my friends can I conjure up to help with the labor? I hope I can do some of this work at home. Those kinds of thoughts start to enter one's mind at this point in production. I find that at this point it becomes necessary to make routine visits to the depths of my memory so that I can remember why did I do this to myself? Then I remember the original vision I had, and how much potential this project has to move many people to action, or maybe just to care a little bit more. I guess what I've learned along the way of making art is that having purpose can really be a moving force. To have purpose is to have value. To have value is an innate need, I think, among most humans. So we weave and weave. We finally find our way to bed for a night of dreaming, dreams that usually involve more weaving, and then we get up in the morning, maybe have our coffee, and go back to more weaving. All the while, visions of purpose and value grow within ourselves. When we finally worked on the nose and head sections of the whale, it was a significantly more organic process than weaving the rest of the understructure. We chose to use the chicken wire to weave the shape of the nose and mouth, and well, the lips actually, because it's more pliable than the fencing material we had been using so far. It's always a process of cutting wire, shaping it, holding it up to decide if that shape would work, attach it, pinching and stretching, then add to the next section so that it blends into the part of the form already completed. Unroll, cut, shape. Discuss, secure, repeat. Finally, we felt good with the product's form and moved on to the issue of applying the plastic to the very different chicken wire grid, as opposed to the tighter, smaller grid of the fencing material we had been using.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Cady. I teach marine science and biology courses at Olympic College, and I got roped into the whale project by Marie Weichman, who thought it would be great to create an interdisciplinary project, and since I teach marine science, I thought that would be perfect, so I was really excited to be able to participate. Gray whales sometimes come into Puget Sound when they're migrating, and lots of these whales are coming in when they're really hungry because they've been in waters that are not very productive and don't have a lot of food. And the gray whales are interesting because they feed on things that are on the bottom. So if you put trash into Puget Sound and it sinks to the bottom, there's a good chance that a gray whale is going to ingest it. And I think that the fact that there were gray whales that have washed up and been found with tons of plastic in their stomach was a signal to the people of Puget Sound that we're doing something wrong. We're doing something that is morally and ethically wrong. And I think that creating this whale has also helped to open people's minds and help them to think in a different way and look at their daily activities in a different light. And I think that it's important that you realize that everything that you do impacts the world around you. And when you wake up in the morning and think to yourself, do I want to impact the world positively or do I want to impact the world negatively? And a positive impact would be decreasing your use of plastics and of garbage that is wasteful. You don't need to have a plastic bag that you're just going to throw away just to carry your groceries home when you could have one that you could reuse over and over again.
Worldwide, over 250 million tons of plastic are produced annually. In Washington state, over 2 billion plastic bags are used each year. And prior to the ban placed on plastic bag use, Seattle alone used 292 million plastic bags annually. Nationally, only 6% of these plastic bags were recycled. Scientists estimate that 6 tons of plastic litter covers the Washington shoreline. Researchers at the University of Washington, Tacoma have found plastic pollution in every water sample they've collected. Over 80% of marine debris comes from land, while the remaining 20% comes from commercial fishing, cargo ships, and cruise ships.
Oh, the eyes. And what beautiful eyes they are, too. Teresa used a modeling wire mesh and formed a half sphere onto which she layered paper pulp mixed with water. Then, after painting the eyes, she used clear casting resin in layers to build up a surface that looks wet, shiny, and thick, much like a real eyeball. And wow, the eyes have it. I felt my stomach do a little flip of excitement when I saw the eyes on the whale. It was as if our sculpture was suddenly given life. What is it about eyes anyway? Why do we say things like, the eyes are the windows to the soul? How do a pair of fake paper and resin eyes have the power to make one feel as if they're being watched? I would challenge anyone to cover the eyes of the Mona Lisa and then try to claim the painting's magic didn't change.
My name is Teresa Helton, and I'm one of the art students at Olympic College that worked on the whale project. Part of the things that I did was worked on the weaving the bags for the surface of the whale. I created the eyes, and I was involved in the installation project. I think one thing that I would like to share with everyone about my educational process and what I've learned from this project is that learning can involve not only what you're interested or what your major is, but you can expand yourself and your learning into other areas, as this project did, gave us an awareness of the other departments in the university and the campuses, and that people can become involved in. That art touches not only the art department, but it can go into the welding department, the marine science department, the drafting department, and all areas, and everyone worked together wonderfully. And when people come together for a project like this, then it clicks and it works and it produces something wonderful that is a gift to the world.
The process of making something is really a very powerful experience. Making something by hand teaches discipline. It teaches perseverance and fortitude. There are countless reasons to value the lessons learned by experiencing the process of making. My art students don't leave my class knowing how to draw or how to sculpt. Well, okay, maybe they do, but more importantly, they leave my class knowing how to see and how to express themselves. They learn how to deal with disruption in creative ways with positive outcomes. They gain an I-can-do attitude instead of the opposite. What part of life doesn't improve with an I-can-do attitude? The process of making is about art. In fact, it's about everything.
Discarded items can remain in the marine environment, affecting animals longer than the human life. A styrofoam cup takes 50 years to decompose, while plastic bottles and disposable diapers won't degrade for 450. Monofilament fishing line remains a hazard for 600 years. There are many ways to reduce marine debris. Simply bring your own bag to the grocery store and your own cup to the coffee shop. Purchase items with less packaging, discard waste in proper containers, recycle appropriate items, and participate in beach cleanups. For momentous occasions, plant a tree instead of releasing balloons, and remember the popular phrase, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Art has the power to share and educate. If an artwork does not communicate something to someone, then and only then has it failed us and failed itself. With that in mind, the Whale Project was born. The visual arts has an obligation to inspire people beyond the subject of the arts. It should, in fact, has a responsibility to inspire anything possible for everyone possible. By that I mean art should inspire invention. Art should inspire new ways of doing things. Art should inspire us with a desire to know more about any topic at all. If we can create an installation in the gallery at OC that inspires people, young and old alike, to learn more about whales or the human role in creating environmental dangers, then art and the gallery at OC is fulfilling its true potential. Learning should not have only one inspiring outcome, but also be an inspiring experience from the start for every student. Anything we, as educators, can do to make the experience of learning an inspiring one is increasingly necessary, even expected. Creative thinking is required for success in an increasingly complicated and possibly disruptive world. The arts exercise the skills necessary for success. That is the value of art. Teach creative thought, teach creative practice, teach creative solutions to every problem the world can throw at us. Imagine that world, and we can make it a reality. To inspire learning and creative problem solving is the greatest goal of any artist. That is where the value of any art truly lives.
I'm Marie Weichman, and I'm the art professor here at Olympic College, and this is our baby. The Whale Project is an interdisciplinary project from welding, art, and the Marine Science Department. And together, we created this wonderful object that we think of as our pet. But more importantly, it really does speak to issues that we feel our community needs to address. And we also want to express how art can be an inspiring element to do so. So one of the things that was very important to me was that we actually utilize art as an inspiring tool, not just for my art students, but it's very important to me that the Olympic College community and the Bremerton community at large understand that art can communicate in ways that no other thing can. It works so well with every other need a community has. And as a professor, a teacher, and an artist, I feel that I could do this easily enough in my studio and make it my project. But to bring it into the classroom and to involve students and my colleagues really makes it a broader issue, and it gives ownership of what's happening to our environment to all of us. We all have a role. And if we can't reach out and grab that person who's watching and looking and make them understand that every day they're doing something that's damaging their own environment, then why am I making art? The environment is so important to our future. The fact is, if we don't take care of it, it's not the planet that's going to go away, it's us. And if we don't take responsibility today to take care of what we need tomorrow, then we are not being responsible citizens. And in this community, I believe we are, and I think we need to start getting creative about our ways to do that.